Hi, this is going to be my really quick video review and demo of the Oster 2-pound bread maker with express bake. For those of you looking for the exact model number, so that way you can YouTube check the reviews or anything like that, the model number is CKSTBR9050. Once again, it's the Oster 2-pound bread maker with express bake. Just to give you a little quick idea of the actual size of the bread maker, it is exactly 11.5 inches tall. The depth is about 11 inches and the width is about 10 inches. Now, to get an idea, open this bad boy up. The bread pan, where all the baking and kneading and everything happens. And just in case you're curious, it's supposed to seat in there that well. That's how you know that it's actually in there. When it clicks in there really hard, just like you just saw, that bad boy's in there. All of your, buttons and sensors. Turn around so you can get a seat from the side. And here's the back. Pretty sturdy. It's made of all plastic. I've already baked a loaf with this. Just got it yesterday or 2 days ago, and I've already baked a loaf with this and it came out perfectly. So I figured I'd do a demo, an actual full in-depth demo, so that way you can actually see the whole process. Okay, here we go. These are all your ingredients that you'll need to make a basic 1-pound loaf of bread. You're going to need about 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon of water. Now make sure when you measure the cup of water you're down at eye level, because it's very important that you get the measurements exactly right, or else you can totally screw up your batch of bread. So when pouring the hot water in there, now when I say hot water, the water should be between 115 and 125 degrees. As you see, I have my little digital thermometer in there measuring it, and it's still a little bit too hot to pour it in there, but by the time that gets down to about 122 degrees or so, maybe a little bit less, that's when I'm going to add that in there. 1 cup, and then take a tablespoon and add your tablespoon of water in there also. So that's your exact measurement. Then you're going to need about 2 tablespoons of whatever kind of oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, EVOO as Rachel Ray would say it. 2 tablespoons of sugar, any kind of sugar will do. 1 teaspoon, I said teaspoon, not tablespoon, 1 teaspoon of salt, any kind of salt will do. I used Morton salt. And then here's the main thing, your yeast. You need 5 teaspoons, not tablespoons, 5 teaspoons of quick rising yeast. Okay, you can buy it in the store. Make sure it's not the active dry. Make sure it's the quick rising. If you look in the store, they have little containers of them. They're like $3, and it says on it quick rising yeast for bread makers. If you're going to be using a bread maker, that's your best bet, because the yeast is specially made to be used with the bread makers. And then 3 cups of flour. Now when you're measuring your flour, make sure that you scoop it out, and then you take like a butter knife or with a flat end and level it off. It has to be perfect scoops. You don't want to add too much. You have some people like to eyeball it when doing their measurements. When making bread in the bread maker, the measurements have to be exact. If they aren't exact, then it won't come out the way that it should be. So once again, to recap, 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon of water between the temperatures of 115 and 125 degrees, 2 tablespoons of oil, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of any kind of salt, 5 teaspoons of your quick rising yeast, and 3 cups of flour. The next clip I'll be adding it in so you can see exactly how you add it in. Okay, I brought the machine a little closer so you can actually see me add the ingredients. Now it's very important that you add all your liquids first. 2 tablespoons of oil. Just pour that on in there. The water, as you can see, temperature 119 degrees. Pour that in there. Sugar, go ahead, pour that in there. 2 tablespoons. 1 teaspoon salt, pour that in there. 3 cups of flour, that goes in there. Nice and carefully. Now here's the important part. I'm going to use my thermometer, but you got to make a little well in the flour to hold the yeast before you pour the yeast in. Don't just pour the yeast in there willy-nilly, because the yeast cannot touch the water whatsoever. So when you pour the yeast into the little hole that I just made in the flour, it's going to start kneading from the bottom, and it's going to protect the yeast from the water. If the yeast touches the water, because the water is so hot, it will burn off the yeast and then it will not work. Okay? Now that all the ingredients are in there, I'm going to go ahead and close the lid. And it's very important that when you close the lid, that you do not open it at all until the process is done. Now, next step, blooper. Next step is the settings. You're going to press the menu button. You're going to see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's for 1 pound loaf. 58 minutes. So in 58 minutes, the whole process will be done. Okay? So when that's said and done, then you press the start button, and then the process will be started until it's done. See you in the next clip. Okay, now I'm going to press the start button and you can watch it go. Now here's the important part. You have to have yourself a wire rack, such as something like this, to set your bread off, set your bread on when you bring it out, so that way it can adequately cool off. And when you go to take your bread out, make sure that you have something like, something that can withstand heavy heat, to grab it and pull it out. And just like you see me push it in before, it's gonna, you have to pull it out pretty good. So I'm gonna pull it out for you and set it on here so you can see what it looks like now that the bread's done. Look at that. Look how that looks. Isn't that awesome? Pull that out. This is very hot, so be very careful when pulling this out. Just so you can get a better look at the loaf of bread. Look at that, golden brown. It's going to taste so good too. Now, for me to take it out. Now, when you go to take it out, make sure you put your gloves on, like so. You're going to flip it. Well, first, what you want to do is get yourself a little spatula. Any kind of household spatula would do. And you just want to kind of just shove it down the sides a little bit just to loosen it up, loosen up the bread. Okay, now for the fun part. Just going to turn it upside down. And it slides right on out. Now, as you can see, you see the little spindle stuck in the bottom of the bread. That's what actually kneads all the bread. You know, needs the dough to form the loaf. You just simply grab your tool that came with it. The tool is designed specifically to pull that out. Hold on to your bread, stick it in there like that, make sure it's all the way through, and then you can pull it on out. Act like so. Boom. Done. And this is the spindle that goes back inside the pot there. Nice golden brown loaf of bread. Let that sit for like a half hour, cool off, and then we can slice it. See you in the next clip. And now that the bread's all cooled off, now I'm going to take out my bread slicer and I'm going to cut it into slices so that way I can enjoy me a nice piece. He slices off really good. Very spongy texture on the inside, nice crust on the outside. Tastes so good. Tastes so good. Well, this has been a video review and demo of the Oster 2-pound bread maker with express bake. I recommend this to anybody looking to invest on a bread maker. I picked this up from Bed Bath & Beyond, $69.99 plus tax, depending on where you are in the country. I highly recommend it. As you see for yourself, it does an awesome job making bread. Thanks for watching this video. Please give me a thumbs up.